Hey, it's Jamie here. I have a 12 by 12 layout to share with you all today. The idea behind this layout is that this is my mum with my dog, well my parents' dog, and I wanted to do a whole bunch of fussy cutting with these flowers because my mum loves pink, she loves roses, so I thought it'd be a really beautiful layout to kind of do a lot of fussy cutting for. So I have this piece of paper from the Maggie Home Shine collection. I'm going to fussy cut all them out and then I'll come right back. So over there is all of them cut out. Probably the most longest part about this entire layout was cutting out all those flowers, always a bit fiddly to do that. And this is just a sticker from Kaiser Craft. Is that how you say it? Kaiser Craft? I don't know. I know they're Australian, but I've never actually known exactly how to say their name. These are the photos that I have. So I have a 3x4 and then it's a 2x3. That 2x3 photo is just from my Canon mini printer, I think they're called, and I'm grabbing out some papers from the same collection as I fussy cut all the flowers out of, just to sort of keep consistency, and the colours I thought would match really well. So I went with just this wood grain pattern, and that's sort of like a pink wood grain already matted on that one. I kind of wanted to just go with a neutral sort of colour palette because of the pink, and then there was also some grey in the flowers, and I kind of went with the grey because, as you can see, the dog is grey, so I'm doing that. I'm just using my ruler to get sort of a distressed edge, and this is a book paper, and I fiddle around with this, but I don't think the book paper stays. I did a layout ages ago. I didn't film it, but I had sort of this like off to the side piece of book paper, and I loved how it looked, and I've been trying to replicate it for so long, and I just can't seem to get it how to do it. I might have to grab the layout out to look out exactly what I did so I can redo it, because it just looks so stunning. So I'm just cutting that out with my scissors and fiddling around with that, and I'm just using my ruler again just to rip off sheets of paper from the 12 by 12 stack of paper. I'm not really worried about ripping pieces of paper off because I'm not a big 12 by 12 scrapper anymore, nor am I a pattern paper scrapper usually. I normally do white cardstock backgrounds, so I don't mind wrecking a whole sheet of paper unless it's something really beautiful and I want to push myself to sort of use that as a pattern paper background. Again, this is where I kind of went, you know what, don't use the book paper. It wasn't going with it, and I didn't like how it looked, so no one else would know if they looked at it that they knew I even did that, but you guys know. That kind of shows you guys, layouts always don't go exactly how you plan it out, and you can fix things, you can change them around, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I do kind of do a lot of layering on this big one because it's the sort of focal photo, and the other photo is sort of just like an accent to it. I really like doing that when I'm doing multiple photo layouts. I like having one huge photo, and then I like having sort of little multiple mini ones that kind of are like silly sort of photos that go with it, so you have that really nice posed photo in the center, and then you have like the silly ones that kind of show the story behind the photo, which I really, really love doing that. That's sort of something that I find sort of is like a visual storytelling without people actually realizing that's kind of the intention of what you're going for. I did do a fair bit of layering, and I think I put down that piece, but I'm not sure. I did this layout a long time ago, and I've been waiting to do the voiceover probably for maybe 2 months now. I know it's really bad, I just haven't had the time to get around to a trimester with uni, and I'm finally on holidays now, but then I go back in another week and a bit, so I'm trying to get heaps of things filmed before I go back to uni, because when I'm in uni I don't get to film as often as I like to, and I don't like to scrap as often as I like to, which is kind of a downside, but that's okay. I do a giant marathon of it when I'm on holidays, or if it's sort of a semester break. So here is the Journal Studio by Create Paper ephemera pack. This is gorgeous. I want 30 packets of these. The flowers, the florals that are in it are stunning. Even the big sort of ephemera pieces that I'm not a giant fan of, I'm actually finding that I'm using them in Project Life as like elements on a filler card, because a filler card generally for me is actually a 6x4, because I don't take a lot of 6x4 photos that are horizontal. I take a lot of vertical 6x4s but not horizontal ones, so my horizontal filler cards are kind of the thing that happens the most for me. So this is sort of the idea that I had. I wanted to kind of go with an L for the florals, because I thought it would look really cool for your eye to kind of follow it from the top all the way around. And I wanted that sticker across the center to kind of be the midpoint where everything would kind of settle on. So I'm using some double-sided tape just to stick down that little the little bottle, what are they called? The mason jar. Using some foam tape to stick that down, and I'm just kind of figuring out where I want to stick the photos down, and I just go, you know what, just stick them down. You know you want to do an L shape, so let's just go for it. So I'm just sort of using the photo as a marker so I can figure out, you know, I don't want to waste all that fussy cutting and cover up a lot of it with the photo, so only little bits, you know, get covered. So I'm just using them as markers and using my wet glue to stick it down. Wet glue is a lot easier to stick things down because, you know, you don't have to peel off the back of some double-sided tape. I'm sure if you had an ATG you could do that, but they just look so big. I don't know how people use them. They look so difficult to use, and I find when I'm gluing down a lot of the same embellishment that doesn't really have a specific place, I love to just use wet glue because it's simple. You know, you just all down and then you're good to go. So once I've done sticking all of the flowers down, I decided to grab out this sticker sheet to see if there's anything else that I could put down through there, and I think I do just decide to grab a couple of tiny little flowers because this is a floral layout. As you can see, it's a very girly layout, and I really loved how it turned out. I really want to kind of do something quite similar because most of the time when I do girly layouts, they're mixed media, and this one has really no mixed media whatsoever. So sticking down a few more, that is the one from the K's Across sticker sheet, the flower that I just stuck down, and then I'm sticking down the mason jar, peeling off the back of this with double-sided tape, and I'm just going to stick that down. Oh, I do put some wet glue down. I think I put that down just to make sure it was doubly stuck down because, you know, there's a lot of paper in the background that it's kind of sticking to on corners, and then trimming off the edges. I love to have embellishments going off the edge and cutting them off because it looks to me like it's contained. I love a layout that looks contained, sort of, you know, either with a border or with embellishments going off to the side, because to me that kind of looks really appealing to your eye. The title I decided to go for is Mummy Cuddles, and I did that because that's sort of kind of like a joke that I always say with my dog, you know, when I'm hugging my dog, and then kind of to them when my parents' dogs are, you know, having a little cuddle with them. I'm like, oh, you're having some mummy cuddles. So I'm just trying to grab out all the letters that I need. These are just some glitter thickers. I think they're from Heidi Swap. Yep, I'm going to say they're from Heidi Swap. They're really, really pretty. I wish they were kind of more of a deeper gold, but they worked really well with this layout because it's kind of a neutral layout, and this gold to me feels quite neutral but also really sparkly at the same time. So as always, I'm just using my clear piece of paper to position it exactly where I want, and I do decide to put it underneath the photo, and in the video it kind of looks like it's, oh no, it's standing out. It's standing out. I was going to say it does stand out a fair bit on the page just because it's so, whoa, glitter in your face. I definitely need to get some more thickers. I feel like I've been using the same thickers over and over and over again, and it's sort of showing in my layouts. So I'm going to get some new ones soon. What are your favorite thickers to get? Do you love getting phrase thickers or just plain alphas, or even what are some other alphas that you get that are like thick? I love standing up alphabet stickers. So that's stuck down. I love sticking the title down first because to me it kind of goes my key elements from the page, my title and my photo. I'm adding a doodly border across the center there because I wanted to have sort of three things for it to sit on. I do end up getting some sequin, here it is, some sequin ribbon, I think it's called, and I stick that across the center. I probably should have done that before I stuck everything down, but, you know, you can't notice once it's stuck down. I just sort of slip it underneath the photo and then it's all good to go. It is a little bit fiddly, but just using some tweezers and it didn't exactly work. So once that's all stuck down, I was happy to have three elements on there. Because sort of, I like things in three. I think most scrapbooks kind of go with like the rule of three. You know, you like to have three of each thing, 3 or 5. Odd numbers, basically. Odd numbers are the best. So I'm sticking down this giant gold butterfly because where else would a butterfly be but in a field of flowers? And this layout sort of reminds me of a field of flowers. So I'm sticking down some puffy stickers as well, and then I'm breaking off a few of the sequins from that sequin ribbon to kind of stick down around the page as like a glittery element. I'm just doing dots of glue everywhere, and I'm just going to stick them down not even anywhere important, just sporadically around the page as a nice extra gold element, something that kind of sparks your interest, that kind of looks a little bit like glitter. You could do the same effect with glitter, do some tiny little dots, probably a little bit smaller than the dots that I did in this, and then sprinkle some glitter on of the colour you want, and it sort of gives this nice, I kind of think of it as like a magical element. And I was sticking down some gold hearts, and this is crate paper. I think this is an old Valentine's Day, I think it's main squeeze, yep, main squeeze, yep. So I'm sticking down just some stickers from that one. I think it says I love you, and then it's a couple of gold little hearts, so sticking that down. I did get this to use to do like a Valentine's Day project, but I never actually did it because I was just so busy. It was, you know, finding time to film things and do things is always hard, so getting things out is definitely something that I love to do. This is what is color, and it's a really, really cheap set, and I've had no problem with it. I like sort of muted colors. I'm not a big fan of really deep saturated colors. They kind of are intimidating to me. I like muted colors, so that's why I bought this cheap one, because they're a lot more dull, which is something that I love. So I'm just doing some splatters of that, and I'm just going to let that dry. I always wave my hand on top of it, but it doesn't do anything. There was a little bit that got on the photo, so I was just scratching that off with my finger. And I'm adding a few extra tiny word stickers, because when I look at a layout and I feel like it's missing something, I always add sort of my favorite embellishments, which would be a tiny word sticker or wood veneer, and to me that kind of brings the whole layout together. I think I've seen a lot of people do that, where they feel like their layout's missing something, then they realize they haven't put like their favorite embellishment on there, and then it just feels complete. I think that once a layout feels complete for you, you know, you feel a lot happier. And if it doesn't feel complete, you know, you can't stop thinking about it. At least for me, I always think, oh, you know, what could I have added to that layout? But this layout I love so much. This is the opening layout for my 2019 album, which for me is just, I break it off into monthly sections, but so this was in January, and this is just an amazing layout, I think, to start off the year with, because it's so beautiful. I love this layout. Here I am putting wood veneer on, like I said, one of my favorite embellishments, to sort of tie it all together, and that also goes with sort of like the neutral colors that I went with the embellishments. Most of the embellishments, as you can see, are sort of gold or wooden, very much so. They're not very in-your-face colors like bright pink or bright blue or, you know, bright red. They're just very muted colors. So again, just trying to dry it with my hands, because that really does so much. It doesn't do anything. Here is the layout done. I will have some close-up photos at the end for you. I really love how this layout turned out. I hope you enjoyed the video and get inspired. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye!